All right, guys, book number 2 for the month of January 2023. Book number 2 is Black Woman Millionaire by Venus Opal Reese, Dr. Venus Opal Reese. I want to make sure I pay dues. You know, it's not easy getting that doctorate, and she did it, so shout out to her. So first off, let me get into her background. Like, she was born and raised in Baltimore, where I'm at right now. So that was like eye-opener. Like, I didn't know before I got the book. I literally just grabbed the book and read that and like the intro and the first chapter, and I was like, whoa, that's crazy. Like I said, this book was literally where I needed to be at after I read Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. It was so aligned that it was crazy. So I was thinking, like, this is just gonna be a lady telling us like how to get money, Black woman millionaire, how to do it. No, you guys, this book was so crazy. Like, it talked about the traumas from slavery, the mental traumas that we as women still hold on to from slavery, how it's passed down genetically and how we never overcame it from generations to generations. Like, talk about breaking generational curses. This book was that. So it talked about one of the things I never thought about, it was like getting money as a Black woman is literally a form of rebellion against like American institutionalism. And I was like, that's cool. I never thought about it that way. So to get that perspective is like becoming a millionaire in this country is like, booyah. Like, it's so cool to think of it that way because it kind of like revs you up a little bit. But I was like, I never thought about that. So it was talking about getting over the hurt, literally like getting over past traumas, getting over, you know, your money mindset of how you view money, of how your parents view money, getting over working hard for money. That's like one of my top things. You guys, like, somebody came in my job like probably like a few weeks ago and they were like, you know how people prophesy over you. She was like, and you're not going to have to work hard for it. And I'm like, say it again, because that's what I needed to hear. It doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be difficult. She prioritizes taking your pain or your life lessons and turning that into a blessing for other people to pay you for it, basically. Another important thing that she talked about in the book was, so she talked about like chattel slavery and how yeah, we have a crazy relationship with money because we were literally used as a resource. Like, we were literally sold and shipped and used as property. So yeah, it's going to take a lot to overcome our traumas with money, but this book was definitely really good for that. She talked about surviving versus thriving, which is something me and my mom talk about all the time, coming from a mindset of surviving, which, you know, we're usually in I gotta pay this next bill, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, to a mindset of thriving and attracting money for you. One of the great things she talked about too was that money is an energy, you know. As much as we look at it as a physical thing, it's also an energy. And if your heart isn't open to receive money, if your heart isn't open to think positively of money, if your heart isn't open to attract money in that way, then it'll be hard for you to attract it because, you know, you're not open to receiving it fully. You still have negative stigmas behind it. Your mind is still trying to grasp it. Something else that she said that was amazing is self-esteem versus self-worth money. And I'm going to read these out. So self-esteem money is what you think you're worth based on how you feel about yourself, rooted in past experiences. She also talked about your self-image developed in crisis and is rooted in survival. So how you view yourself is ultimately rooted in survival mode. It's not really who you are, it's how you view yourself when you were in a state of survival. It's like which things you picked up on or things you added to yourself to keep yourself safe in a way. So self-worth money is what others will pay based on the inherent value in what you bring to the table. So you have to look at, like, I don't want to be paid for how I view myself. I want to be paid for what I'm worth. And what I'm worth is endless. It's extremely valuable. She talks about valuation, which is a finance term. Like what are you worth? And, you know, you can't put an amount on that. You know, if I look at my self-esteem, if I base it off my self-esteem, then it's going to be a minimal amount. But if I base it off of my worth, how much I'm willing to get, how much I'm supposed to get, how much I'm willing to attract to myself, what I deserve and what I'm worthy of, if I put that on my worth, you know, and she talked about being made in God's image, you can't put a number on it because it's astronomical. You're worth so much. We're each individually made and we're worth so much. And this book, like, literally, I had just had a little rant about Martin Luther King and how I'm just not a fan. I wasn't a fan of segregation because of everyone coming together and living the same. I was a fan of segregation because I believe we were separate. We could really focus on rebuilding our culture and rebuilding our people and dealing with past traumas. But it's literally hard to do that when you're living in I don't want to say the enemy's house, but you're living in the enemy's house. But this book really made me look at, right now, African Americans are worth $1.7 trillion. Like, we are worth a lot of money, and that's our worth. So if we were to take that money and educate ourselves and recircle that into our community on a consistent basis, that would make an astronomical difference, an amazing difference in the community. So as much as I was like, we should have stayed separate, the fact that we integrated and we gained all these skills, we gained all this knowledge, we gained financial freedom in some aspect or form, some of us, it's just like we do have a one up now. Like, this is what Dr. King died for, so that we could have Black millionaires and we could have Black billionaires. Shout out to Riri. We could have people doing amazing things in this community, and America was built on capitalism. So the fact that we live in a capitalistic society, which means there's money to be made, so to think of the positives in that way, and this book definitely did that. Her subtitle was Insurrection of Personal Power as Profit. Like, wow. She talked about Nat Turner. She talked about like the rebellion there, and how this is literally a day and age where you taking your own power, you controlling your wealth, you becoming financially free, you using that to educate others is the biggest act of an insurrection, the biggest act of rebellion, the biggest act of rooting for your ancestors and giving them things beyond their wildest dreams, and building a road for the next generation to come into and do exactly the same. So I think that was amazing about this book. It's not only a book, too. I want to explain that it's actually a workbook. So there's like lesson plans, and you could process past trauma. You can identify who you want to be and who you are in this moment. You can talk about hurt. You can heal. You can grow. You can think of the things that you're saying to yourself that you never really think of out loud. So I think that is phenomenal. Thank you, Dr. Reese, for this book. It was definitely a joy to come across, and I feel like a lot of people would benefit from it. So sisters, and not only sisters, I've read reviews, and people from all different kind of backgrounds and cultures have read the book. And I think it's important for other cultures to read it too, so they can become informed about the African American mindset when it comes to money, and why we're flawed, or we don't think the way we need to think in some areas, and some of the people in our community aren't up to par with how to gain financial freedom, and because it's really rooted in our genetics at this point. So I think it's really a good book for everybody, but definitely sisters, y'all need to go read this book. Get your tissues, be prepared to cry, be prepared to come face to face with reality, because the bottom line is the truth hurts. And this is somebody who was willing to give us the truth off the bat. Like, as soon as you start the book, it's like, hey, here you go, slap in your face, wake up. So I love that. I'm all for that. So for me, it was like, wow, extremely empowering. Like I said, it changed my perspective on a lot of things, opened my heart to a lot of things, to be able to receive and be open, and to really develop and come to terms with who I want to be and what I want to be going forward as an individual. So I think it was phenomenal. I give this book definitely an 8 out of 10. It was great. Do the work. It's work to be done in the book. I advise you to do it, or at least come to par with some of the answers to the questions and really sit with it and marinate in it. But great book, phenomenal, a must read as well. And I think this one is going for about $25 on Amazon. So get that for you. Get it for your mama, your cousin, your auntie. Great book. All right, guys.